So guys, the Young Turks has gone through and finally, as far as I know, addressed the get the memo or release the memo. Now, I must admit, I find this quite interesting in the fact that a lot of the Democratic Party doesn't want to seem to let this memo get out. I don't know why. And at the end of the day, they also seem to want to debunk it before they've even seen it. Interesting, isn't it? So yeah, the main reason why, I know I've done a lot on this memo, the reason why I'm dealing with this is because this video is so full of shit. And I want to call him out for it. So let's go through, let's watch this Young Turks video, we'll stop it for every now and then, and we will correct the record. Roll it.
For a while now, conservatives, right-wingers on social media have been doing hashtag release the memo. At first when I saw it, I thought, wow, is this a classified memo they have from the FBI or any kind of information they have from intelligence officials about what Donald Trump did or did not do?
And we're like 10 seconds in and he's already full of it. Do you really think Cenk sat there and thought, oh, the Republicans, they're trying to release a memo. I wonder what Trump did. Because if you did, your bias is showing. And why would the Republicans want to release a memo with Russia collusion against Trump? Doesn't work, does it? No. At the end of the day, this has nothing, well, it has a little bit to do with Trump, but it doesn't really have a lot to do with Trump. The memo, which we'll get into it slightly, is actually more about the Democratic Party, which is why he's trying to downplay it. He knows that, he's just trying to defer.
They want it released, so I imagine it's good news for Trump. So I was curious about it. Well, turns out no. It does have some classified information according to the FBI, but it doesn't come from the FBI. It's a memo written by Republicans.
So remember when he says it has classified information? Remember that point. Take a mental note. Cenk just said it has classified info, okay? Remember that because we're going to come back to that in a few minutes from now. Second thing he just talked about then was he's saying about the Republicans. Yeah, the Republicans have written it. The Republicans that are on the congressional hearing regarding Russia collusion, it's not just like some Republicans sat around, thought we'll write a novel for the weekend and wrote a book. These are guys that have actually gone through, seen the intelligence from the Russia-Trump collusion investigation and have written a memo, a 4-page memo that basically outlines all that information. It is a summary of the Trump-Russia collusion. It's kind of a little bit important. It's not just like, you know, like he's downplaying it already. It's not like just some guys sat around and just wrote a book. This is guys who actually have seen the actual information regarding Russia-Trump collusion.
And they want it released because they think that that proves that they are right, because other Republicans wrote a memo saying they don't like the Justice Department investigating Donald Trump.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying? Oh my God, stop fucking lying.
Sorry guys, I had to use that video. I'm going to have to use that whenever I do a Young Turks thing. But yeah, basically no, the most of this memo has nothing to do with them actually investigating Trump per se. The majority of this memo, reportedly, is actually about how the Democratic Party funded, quote, opposition research, went through, faked a dossier that used that dossier to then use that as proof to spy on Trump. And then after that didn't work, then supposedly used this dossier to go through and to start a special investigation that Mueller is currently running. They used a fake dossier that they funded to get a FISA warrant to spy on Trump because he was winning the election, and B, to start a special prosecutor into a Russia collusion investigation, which has cost the taxpayers millions of dollars. It's a little bit more than they don't like you looking into Trump, isn't it, Turk? And you know this, Jake. You know this. You are lying about this. And I'm sorry, but I'm calling you out. You are full of shit.
That does not appear to be persuasive evidence, but let's dive into the details, find out more. We'll go to the New York Times here. They explain a secret, highly contentious Republican memo reveals that Deputy Attorney General Rod J. Rosenstein approved an application to extend surveillance of a former Trump campaign associate shortly after taking office last spring, according to 3 people familiar with it. I suppose this is the aha moment for right-wingers. They're like, aha! So he investigated someone connected to Donald Trump. Yes, he apparently extended that investigation, and?
With everybody I see at the moment tweeting about this memo, and I am keeping a very close eye on it. Check the amount of videos I've made. The fact is, I have not seen anyone go on about Rosenstein, or whatever his name was, extending the investigation. As far as I know, that's not even a thing people are caring about. It's like someone has a fruit bowl of apples and like 5 or 6 apples and a grape. And he is focusing on the grape when everybody's looking at the apples. No one cares about Rosenstein really doing this, extending the investigation. But if that has any interest, yay, congrats. But at the end of the day, no one cares about that. We care about the Democratic Party funding this dossier and using it to try and get an elected official out of the presidency.
You see, for that to be interesting, you then have to follow it up with, and he shouldn't have because it was wrong, because that guy didn't do it, and here's the rest of the information. But they don't have that. They're just like, aha, he asked for an investigation. That's kind of his job as Deputy Attorney General. This is your big aha. These guys are unreal. All right, more details.
First of all, I'd like you to tell me how you exactly know what's in the memo. Because you just said then that it's not got this information. It hasn't got certain information in it. Have you seen the memo? Do you know what's in the memo? Because I haven't seen it. I've seen page 1 that was leaked, but I haven't seen page 2, 3, or 4. And in fact, as far as I know, even the people that have seen the memo can't actually tell people what's in it because it's supposed to be classified. So how do you know what is or isn't in there? And secondly, this Rosenstein, whatever his name is, no one cares about that. That's not why we're interested in the memo. The memo, I don't give a shit about him investigating Trump unless the information that he was given to start that investigation is proven to be fraudulent. That is the only reason I would care about that.
The renewal shows that the Justice Department, under President Trump, saw reason to believe that the associate, Carter Page, was acting as a Russian agent. But the reference to Mr. Rosenstein's actions in the memo, a much disputed document that paints the investigation into Russian election meddling as tainted from the start, indicates that Republicans may be moving to seize on his role as they seek to undermine the inquiry. So there is already a warrant to investigate Carter Page, who is part of the Trump campaign, because they're concerned he might be a Russian agent. They have good enough evidence that they got a warrant from a court, and they didn't do it without a warrant, which unfortunately happens all the time in America. They got a warrant, they did an investigation as they should. Rosenstein gets into office, even though he's appointed as part of the Trump government, says, well, they do have evidence that this guy's a Russian agent, and they already had a warrant. I'm going to continue that warrant to make sure that he is or is not a Russian agent, and we know because that's my job at the Justice Department. Republicans seize on that and go, aha! Again, aha what? Aha what?
Aha! We don't care about that. Exactly the point. We do not care about this. This is not why we... For a start, has anybody else realized that the Democratic Party seems to be very, very concerned about transparency in the government. Funny that for a start, isn't it? Secondly, that is not why we care about the memo. You are focusing on a certain point of the memo that would be like 2 or 3 paragraphs. Guess what? There's another 3.5 pages. That is what we care about.
Do you have evidence that Carter Page is not a Russian agent? Nope, they don't have that evidence. Well, do you have evidence that this memo was written by the FBI about secret plots? Nope. Well, who wrote the memo? The Republicans wrote the memo. So what? So what? So some of your own guys wrote a memo saying they don't like Rod Rosenstein because he's doing his job. Wow, hashtag release the memo.
Why does he keep focusing on Weinstein or whatever his name is? Why does he keep caring about that? When even Trey Gowdy has been on Fox News and CNN and said this.
The House Intelligence Committee is expected to vote this week on whether to release that 4-page memo that you had a big hand in writing that alleges abuse and bias inside the FBI and the Justice Department. As I discussed with Mark Short, the Washington Post reports today the president wants to have the memo released. Do you agree with that?
I do. I'm sorry that we're to this point. This memo is nothing but the distilling, the reducing of thousands of pages of documents provided to us by the department and the Bureau. So there's nothing in this memo that the department is not already aware of. If you think your viewers want to know whether or not the dossier was used in court proceedings, whether or not it was vetted before it was used, whether or not it's ever been vetted, if you are interested in who paid for the dossier, if you're interested in Christopher Steele's relationship with Hillary Clinton and the Democrat National Committee, then yes, you'll want the memo to come out.
That is what Trey Gowdy has said is important regarding the memo. And what? Cenk didn't see this? He hasn't done any research before he did this clip? Of course he's seen this clip. Guess what? Typical progressive Democrat strategy. Look, over here, here's a shiny object. Look at this. Meanwhile, trying to divert your attention away from what's actually important in this memo. Why has this whole video, why has he gone on about Weinstein so much? Nobody I have seen has talked about Weinstein. Everybody is more interested in the Steele dossier. Who funded it and all that sort of stuff. But he hasn't mentioned that once. Ask yourselves why.
Preposterous. Now, the reason the FBI claims they're concerned is because they think in doing so, they might reveal classified information and they won't show the FBI what's in the memo. The FBI is saying, well, look, if there's no classified information, then that's not an issue. Can we see it? They're like, oh, no way. We're not going to show it to you.
Always lying to me. You lying so much. You making it hard for me.
What? No, shit. Get. Oh, you've seen it. Oh, crap. Oh, that's just blew Jank's argument out of the water. Yeah, sorry, Jank, what were you saying? What was this? What? What happened? Sorry, who didn't get to see the memo? Ah, interesting, isn't it? Yes, you know what's really, really funny, Jank? Right after the FBI finally got to see the controversial Neens memo, McCabe from the FBI, the acting director of the FBI, went on holidays for the rest of his, he was going to retire in March, right? About 4 or 5 weeks from now. But he went on holidays for the rest of the time. I like to think that it was something along the lines of, McCabe, you got a choice. It's Gitmo or the golf course. No, please, I'll take the golf course. Don't send me to Gitmo. Okay, but just warning you. Stay away from small planes. Hillary is still on the loose. And that's how I'd like to think it went, something along those lines. But yeah, you don't think it's a little bit suspicious? FBI finally gets to see the memo, and then the acting director of the FBI, who's caught up allegedly in this memo retires with like terminal history or whatever it was they put it down to. Which is funny because apparently he lost his shit when he went on holidays. From the reports I've heard, screaming, ranting, swearing that he will burn the place to the ground. Doesn't really sound like it might have been a voluntary holiday move, does it? Oh, and Jank, you can't claim that this happened or that the FBI got to see the memo, after your video, because they saw the memo on Sunday. Your video came out on the Monday. So, you're lying, buddy. You've just been caught.
I mean, now the Republicans refuse to work with their own Justice Department. All of this is madness. Okay, so more from the New York Times. No information has publicly emerged that the Justice Department or the FBI did anything improper while seeking the surveillance warrant involving Mr. Page. That has not emerged because it does not exist.
Once again, Jank, have you seen the memo? No? So how do you know it doesn't exist? How do you know what is written in the memo? You haven't seen it. Why are you protesting so much about people being transparent in the government? Maybe because you know the memo isn't about Carter Page.
But right-wingers go, well, if you got a warrant on a Trump campaign official, by definition, it must have been wrong. Based on what evidence? Based on the fact that you're in love with Donald Trump. Okay, but that's not evidence.
How far are we into this video yet, and we still haven't got to the Democratic Party? Do you think we ever cover the Democratic Party paying for this opposition research? Do we get to any? Do you think he's going to talk about that, or do you think he's just going to keep talking about this same point over and over and over for the next 12 minutes?
Okay, Mr. Trump is now again telling associates that he is frustrated with Mr. Rosenstein, according to one official familiar with the conversations. In other words, here we go. Just got rid of McCabe, earlier got rid of Comey. Now let's go get Rosenstein, who appointed Mueller, so then we can take out Mueller. Why? Because Trump knows that if you have a real investigation of him, you will find out all of his connections to the Russians.
Does anyone actually believe Trump fired Comey solely because of this Russia investigation? At all? Or do you think it was the fact that Comey was leaking intelligence from the White House? He screwed up the Hillary investigation more than once. He didn't seem to be getting anywhere when it came to this investigation. How incompetent does someone have to be at their job before you sit there and think, yeah, maybe you need to find another job, buddy? As for McCabe, Trump didn't really have much to do with that either. You know who fired McCabe? The FBI. Trump had nothing to do with it. I'll play this clip for you now.
John.
Sarah, the news came down in the last hour that the Deputy Director of the FBI, Andrew McCabe, is stepping down. And we get reaction from the White House, and as the President back at the end of December was tweeting about Andrew McCabe in a less than effusive praise manner. What's he thinking about him stepping down?
Look, we've seen the numerous reports, as all of you have, and any specifics, I can tell you none of this decision was made by that of the White House, and any specifics I would refer you to the FBI, who I believe will be making a statement later today.
You say that the White House was not involved in the decision, but clearly the President seemed to be involved in a public relations campaign against McCabe.
Oh, look, the President stands by his previous comments, but in terms of the situation today, as I just said, we've seen the reports just as all of you have. We don't have any specific comments, and I would refer you to the FBI for any specifics on the things that are taking place today. Jill?
Sir, so when you say that you've seen the reports, does that mean that the President was not informed by anyone at the FBI that this was happening? Has he had any conversation of anything there?
No, he hasn't. Cecilia?
Sir, can you say definitively then that the President did not play a role in Andrew McCabe stepping down?
Yes, I didn't say the President wasn't part of this decision-making process, and we would refer you to the FBI, where Christopher Wray serves as the director, which, as I said last week, and I'll repeat again today, the President has full confidence in him and has put the decisions at the FBI in his hands.
That is the White House press secretary saying Trump had nothing to do with it. You don't think it's a little weird? The FBI goes and sees the memo on a Sunday afternoon, and then Monday fires the guy that is allegedly implicated who works for the FBI. Gee, I wonder why they might have fired him. I wonder if it might have had something to do with what they read over the weekend. And I'm not talking about War and Peace, people.
Now, some Trump followers and other knuckleheads in the country might not be convinced because they think, oh no, where's the evidence? Where's the evidence? I can give you a laundry list of evidence, and I have done so throughout this last year. 12, 24, 36 pieces of public evidence that is exceedingly clear.
We have all this information about Trump being colluding with Russia, but we're not going to tell you about it. You just have to go and find it yourself. That's basically what he just said, right? Did anybody else realize that? You don't think it would have been a good idea, Jake, to put up a little list here for 5 seconds on the screen about all the proof, or even like bullet points to give people an idea of what you're actually talking about? No, you don't want to do that because you realize the information that you have, the smoking gun that you have, isn't even a smoking gun. There is nothing about it. You really want Trump to collude with Russia so much. You should be looking at the Democrats. The Democratic Party colluded with Russia, with Uranium One and all that. But you won't deal with that.
Now, that doesn't mean you have a smoking gun. That doesn't mean you can convict him. That doesn't mean you can impeach him. That's why they're having an investigation, okay? But no, people say, no, the fact that he's trying to fire everyone during the investigation, that doesn't mean anything. Really? Okay, if you're a Republican and Obama's being investigated and he fires the FBI director investigating him, now he moves aside the deputy director that has supported him. Now talking about firing the deputy attorney general and has agitated publicly to fire the special counsel investigating him. If Obama had done all of that, or Clinton had done all of that, what do you think your reaction would be? Oh my God, we knew it! We knew it! He's the most corrupt guy there is in the world. Impeachment, impeachment, impeachment. Come on, it's super obvious.
Oh, come on, Jake, you know that's not even close to what's actually happened. First of all, he didn't actually fire McCabe, okay? There's no proof that he's done that, and I'm sorry, but I'm not going to get into a hypothetical debate. Give me proof. Give me proof that he fired McCabe. And I'm not talking about some friggin' fire or fury bullshit that's been written, okay? I want proof, memos, whatever it may be. Proof that he fired McCabe, okay? And Comey was in, come on, even the Democrats were calling for Comey to be fired.
It's frustrating having these nonsense debates with people who are not honest actors. Okay.
Yep, Jake, I know the feeling. I know the feeling about people that aren't being honest when they're talking about something.
Now we go to another part of this, which is another person involved with the Justice Department. They explained, but Stephen E. Boyd, an assistant attorney general, warned in a letter last week to the committee's chairman, Representative Devin Nunes of California, that it would be extraordinarily reckless to release a memo drawing on classified information without official review, and pleaded with the committee to consult the Justice Department. So that's an assistant attorney general doing his job, saying, hey, look, at least show us the memo, and if there's no classified information, have at it, Hoss. But we don't know if you're releasing classified information. Oh, I don't want to work with the Justice Department. You guys like to investigate us because maybe our leader did something terribly illegal. Money laundering.
Got some proof to back up that sore throat you got there, Junk? Because as far as I know, there is no proof of it. You're talking about money laundering because you're thinking about the Russian ties. Have you got any proof? Has the special prosecutor or the FBI who have been investigating this for years now found anything? It's funny, you know, when they talk about Russia, when they first started mentioning Russia, it was Russia collusion. Then it was Russia tampered with the voting system. Then it was Russia influenced voting. And now we're down to Russia, IERT, brought some Facebook ads talking about their election video for the live coverage. This is the Russia collusion has gone from Russia collusion to RT, a TV station, spending money on advertising budgets, going through and advertising a live stream. And there was also ads where Russia brought both Democrat and Republican ads in certain areas to divide the country. That's what has this got to do with Trump again? Russia brought Democrat and Republican ads, not one or the other. They brought Black Lives Matter and they brought pro-gun or pro-Republican ones. They brought both. You're great at coughing under your breath there, Jake, but you haven't got any proof to back it up. But don't worry, I know a cure for that cough that you have. It's called uranium-1.
Anyway, according to Bloomberg, when Trump found out about Boyd saying that it would be reckless, he, quote, erupted in anger. Of course he did. He had somebody else blocking his attempts to block justice.
Oh, wow. He got angry because someone has evidence that could exonerate him. Someone else doesn't want it released. And Trump got angry because this is even if you believe that report in the first place. So let's take it with a grain of salt. Say we do believe it. And what? What's your point? Trump got angry because someone has information that can exonerate him and someone else doesn't want it released and said it was extremely reckless. And Trump got angry with him. Yeah, guess what? If I was accused of a crime or doing something and someone could exonerate me or help exonerate me and a third party didn't want to release it, I'd probably go and punch their head in.
So, again, explaining here the Justice Department's point of view, he said the department was unaware of any wrongdoing related to the FISA process, Boyd did. Now, one more piece of information here. The White House has made it clear to the Justice Department in recent days that it wants the Republican memo to be made public. In other words, we don't care if there's classified info in it. We erupt in anger if the FBI or the Justice Department suggests that it might. We just want you to release it so that we could use it to smear everyone else at the Justice Department.
I'm sorry, but Trump has showed this memo to the FBI. So, yeah, and they're going to redact the names and stuff to protect people. So, yeah, the classified information that you're talking about, it's names, and they're going to redact them. So, I'm sorry, but your point is null and valid. To be honest, this seems like an excuse to not release the memo because they don't want it out in the public eye. Now guys, look, I'm going to put a link to the full video below. Feel free to check it out. The next 5 or 10 minutes, whatever, he just keeps talking about the same thing, which no one cares about. I have not seen anyone on Twitter using the hashtag release the memo talk about this Rod Weinstein or this whatever. I haven't seen it mentioned once. What I have seen mentioned is people asking about the Democratic Party going through and funding this with the Steele dossier. Was this Steele dossier, which was fake, this opposition research, used to initiate these FISA warrants? Was the Steele dossier used to kick off the Mueller investigation? Did they use fake intel, which was not vetted, to go through and start a special prosecutor into Trump? And it's funny, he hasn't mentioned any of that once. Remember Trey Gowdy?
If you think your viewers want to know whether or not the dossier was used in court proceedings, whether or not it was vetted before it was used, whether or not it's ever been vetted, if you are interested in who paid for the dossier, if you're interested in Christopher Steele's relationship with Hillary Clinton and the Democrat National Committee, then yes, you'll want the memo to come out.
Yeah, he said that. Why didn't Cenk mention any of those points? Why did he seem to go off on a tangent for 11 minutes talking about something completely irrelevant? Something we don't even really care about. The only reason we would care about this Reinstein, whatever his name is. I don't even know his name. The only reason we'll care about him is if the Steele dossier was used to extend that FISA memo. And if he knew that Steele dossier was fake or not. It's like 1/8 of what we actually care about. We care about all the other stuff. We want to know who funded it. We want to know who brought it. We want to know how it was used. Did they vet it? All the things that Trey Gowdy said. Yet for some reason, Jank didn't seem to mention any of those. I don't know why. Yeah, so much for explaining release the memo. You done a great job, Jank. Try again, buddy. Guys, if this video has been helpful, please smack a like. If you're new to the channel, welcome and subscribe. Apart from that, guys, I'll see you in the next demonetized video from YouTube. Have a great day and enjoy.